Welcome once again to Auto Mundial, the weekly home of all the latest motoring news and reviews. In a special episode this week, we send the year off with our favourite cars of 2024.
We've got some of the most exciting electric city cars you can look forward to in the new year.
Plus, a collection of jaw-dropping performance cars set to get your heart racing.
Stunning, flowing lines, a cabin over the rear wheels and a lumbering power plant lying under a long bonnet. Many will attest to Ferrari's Grand Tourer dominance over the years, and no less so than with its latest Roma. A sleek model with plenty of power and all the luxuries you would want from a modern-day prancing horse for the motorway, it is certainly a tough challenger in class.
But with impressive lineage, Mercedes' all-new AMG GT in 63 Pro form is looking to beat Italy at its own game, just like its predecessor did some 60 years ago. And taking a look at the elegant shapes that make up the newest GT to bear the three-pointed star, it's clear that Germany is serious in its quest. In its new form, the AMG GT gets far larger fascia details like the lengthened tailgates and gaping front grille. Better integrating the model alongside other modern Mercs, it still retains the same long bonnet it always had, while adding nicer curves and an overall less aggressive stance. We find the car more appealing in its new form as a result, having lost the untrustworthy look about it that it had previously. But a 4-litre twin-turbo V8 good for 612 brake horsepower means the latest AMG model in Pro specification still rumbles and bellows like an active volcano. Unlike the outgoing GT, the new car gets 4MATIC all-wheel drive functionality. Meanwhile, active aero, rear-wheel steering and active suspension ensure full use of that power should come easily, even on wet British tarmac. Inside, like any modern Mercedes, passengers will have to face the blinding display of chrome details that give what is an elegant model from the outside a rather tacky interior feel. In fact, bar the larger 11.9-inch touchscreen sat on the centre console and unconventional bezel design hiding the driver's display, the cabin is perhaps overly similar to more run-of-the-mill Mercs like the A-Class. And when you're spending the £165,000 Mercedes is asking for its top-of-the-line GT, you might expect something more special.
There's no doubt that with a prancing horse crest on the steering wheel and the fanciest of upholstery decorating the cabin, the Ferrari Roma can provide just that. Unlike the Mercedes' gaudy cabin, the Italian stallion is all about elegance with its sculpted dashboard, retro center console and gorgeously upholstered seats. Though despite a restrained look forward when it comes to design, you can't escape touchscreens in 2024, with even the Roma's passengers getting their own display for some reason. Much like the cabin, Ferrari's Grand Tourer separates itself from the AMG GT with a far smoother shape, running low to the ground like a featherweight in the shadow of the heavyweight that is the Mercedes. Powering the prancing horse is, much like the German, a 612 brake horsepower turbocharged V8, though in true Italian style, a high-pitched exhaust note replaces deep AMG burbles. In true retro style, the Roma sends all of its power to the rear wheels, though that doesn't hinder performance. That being said, those front-engine GT cruisers are not only about comparing the 0.2 second difference in 0 to 62 time, nor their circa 200 mph top speeds. What they're actually really about is cruising around the French Riviera in extreme comfort, all whilst attracting the attention of those wishing they were you. With its class and looks, The Ferrari without question outcompetes the new AMG GT on those fronts, all for just £10,000 more.
As technology improves, electric cars are slowly making up more and more of the car market, from torquey supercars to luxury SUVs. But one segment that seems to fit the battery electric formula the best is compact city runabouts. In fact, lower range demands and optimal driving situations mean the technology thrives in built-up areas. We're not the only ones that connect battery electric vehicles with the busy city, as manufacturers are always introducing new models to the compact electric class. As such, there are numerous options available right now.
Arguably one of the original city cars, the Fiat 500 name got an all-electric variant in 2020 with its latest generation. Two batteries are available for the little Italian EV, a 24 kilowatt-hour model with about 95 bhp and under 100 miles of range, alongside a larger 42 kilowatt-hour offering 116 brake and over 160 miles of range.
Another name that epitomises the class is the Mini, and whilst it still isn't quite as small as the original, it competes well alongside its rivals, having recently introduced an EV model. The Mini Electric is one of the larger models in its class, and yet offers some of the best performance, with a 7-second 0 to 62 time and over 200 brake horsepower in the top SE version.
If funky styling is what you're looking for, the Peugeot E208 is a stunning little hatch, featuring the aggressive styling cues that the French car maker is now becoming famous for. But it's not all about the looks. Thanks to a choice of 50 or 51 kilowatt-hour batteries, the Peugeot gets close to the Mini on performance, whilst outdoing its entry-level model's 190-mile range.
Also falling under the Stellantis umbrella, the new Vauxhall Corsa Electric gets identical tech as the 208 underneath. Expect a range of between 220 and 246 miles depending on the choice of battery and similar performance. But in the Corsa, you get a driving position that doesn't involve cramming your legs under a low steering wheel, unlike its Stellantis brethren.
There is one small issue with all of these models aiming to provide an entry-level EV capable of tackling the city. Their prices are not entry-level. They all sit at around the £30,000 mark, which can feel out of touch without a financing solution.
That is where this comes in. Starting at just £15,000, the brand new DACIA Spring Electric is surely one of the most affordable electric vehicles on the market. The model has been on sale on the continent for a few years now, racking up impressive sales numbers, but following a recent refresh, it is finally making the trip across the channel. The 26.8 kilowatt-hour battery, it gets a choice of two electric motors capable of 44 or 64 brake horsepower respectively, which may not sound like a lot. But when you factor in the Spring's sub-1 ton weight, it makes for a more pleasant option on paper. This means it will compete for the 0 to 62 sprint in less than 14 seconds in the sportiest model and gets a commendable 130-mile range. Visually, the Spring is a handsome car in our eyes. Its slight crossover stance and short wheelbase remind us of the Fiat Panda 4x4 of times gone past, whilst an edgy light pattern is a futuristic touch. There is no doubt that one can tell the Dacia is a more approachable alternative to the circa £30,000 fleet on the inside, with its plastic dash and rudimentary upholstery. But a nice centre console design and a 10.1-inch screen elevate the new model. 4 seats, 2 ISOFIX points and a 308-litre boot, the Dacia may not be opulent, but it is practical enough to challenge its circa £30,000 rivals. After the break, an Audi simultaneously from 2024 and 1934.
Welcome back. Coming up, the Chevrolet Corvette goes bigger and better than ever before.
Before World War II, Germany was very much a dominant force in Grand Prix racing, notably thanks to Auto Union, a precursor to the Audi name. The Silver Arrows, with their ridiculous power figures, class-leading understanding of aerodynamics and top driving talent, were unrivaled. But one model the original Four Rings never managed to create was its race car-derived road-going Type 52. That is, until now. Unveiled for the Goodwood Festival of Speed is Audi's attempt to build the eye-catching sports car using archived documents, techniques from the day, and the same jaw-dropping numbers. Sat behind the three-seat cabin is a whopping 6-litre, 16-cylinder engine pushing over 510 brake horsepower to the rear wheels, sporting drum brakes and lacking any form of modern electronics that makes for a beast that we think we'll leave for the professionals to tame. In fact, the so-called Schnell Sportswagen is as period correct as possible, even down to these skinny wire wheels. Pairing nicely with the ye olde wheels is the body, an aerodynamically efficient form with clear inspiration from planes of the time. The riveted body panels, the elongated 5-metre-long teardrop shape, and flowing wheel wells all point to the way air has sculpted the Type 52. Up front, and the large grille throwing back to pre-war Grand Prix cars, and headlights just big enough for road use, remind you that this bird is actually flightless. Inside, the recreation model will welcome up to 3 people behind a tasteful wood-panelled dashboard and sizable steering wheel. Ornate dials complete the look, all whilst making us lust after a time before 33-inch invasive screens. Space for spare wheels and a full toolkit in the back is a sign that this Schnell Sportswagen was never designed for public sales. Instead, breaking away from Grand Prix racing and joining the world of sports cars was Auto Union's original aim with the model. And with a theoretical top speed of over 120 miles per hour back in its day, we can imagine it performing well on the long straights of the Le Mans 24-hour circuit. Unfortunately, we'll never know how the Auto Union Type 52 would have performed in its time, with history taking a different turn. All we can do is admire the technology and creativity on show in what is a stunning recreation of a car lost to the past.
Originally launched as a concept celebrating 50 years since the original Renault 5, the 1970s shape is now making its resurrection in 2024 as a production-ready model. With an overall shape in accordance with the original design and plenty of recognisable details adapted for the modern age, it's a car hoping to draw the more traditional enthusiast towards EV tech, albeit with a collection of gimmicks. Inside, you find a blend of fabric seating and quirky details, like this soft dashboard top. Overall, the cabin is very well thought out, with plenty of cubbies for storage and a nice chunky dual display pairing 2 10-inch screens, or dropping to a 7-inch driver display in lower trim levels. With Google's Android automotive system powering its screens, response is smooth and menus are simple to navigate. Elsewhere, everything inside the cabin feels sturdy and really nice to touch. If the 5's compact hatchback dimensions aren't quite enough for your requirements, there is also its larger crossover cousin. Think of the all-new and equally all-electric Renault 4 as the 5's estate variant, especially inside. Indeed, the car unveiled at 2024's Paris Motor Show gets the same overall cabin design, but with slightly greater rear legroom and a larger 420-litre boot, some 100 more than the 5. Though step outside and you will find yourself transported back to a dystopian version of the 1960s, with a slightly taller stance than the 5 and the addition of plastic bumper bolstering. The Renault 4 reflects the original model's rough, ready and outdoorsy persona. Just don't expect to complete any Quattrel trophy rally events aboard the new EV, sharing the same underpinnings as its Renault 5 cousin. The two newest retro Renault EVs get either a 40 or 52 kilowatt-hour battery, good for 190 or 250 miles of range respectively. They come with 121 or 150 brake horsepower, both sporting modest performance stats. Both models set to arrive on UK soil in 2025. They are among our most anticipated cars over the next 12 months. The Renault 5, set to cost £23,000, places itself at a competitive price point versus the likes of the Peugeot E208 and Fiat 500e. Meanwhile, the French manufacturer is yet to announce a starting point for the larger 4, but we would expect a circa £30,000 price tag.
While most modern supercars like the Porsche 911 are becoming mundane daily drivers, losing their sense of occasion, there is a small corner of the industry that still focuses on the atmosphere and thrill of a harsh, track-focused monster. Perhaps our favourite of them all is this, the McLaren 765 LT, a bare-bones version of the British carmaker's 750S supercar, with all the aero accents and performance of a powerful racer. And, as you would expect, it is rather powerful, with its 4-litre V8 sending over 750 brake horsepower to the rear wheels for a fantastic bit of fun. Unfortunately, having shipped all 765 examples of its top track toy, McLaren is no longer selling the 765 LT itself. So, if you're desperate to get your hands on its mind-boggling stats, a collector's inflated price awaits you and your bank account.
But if upwards of £350,000 here on the UK used market sounds like a bit too much buck for your bang, Chevrolet may well have a solution. This is the Corvette ZR1, the most extreme, high-end, bonkers Corvette you can buy from the manufacturer itself. When we say bonkers, we really do mean it, as if the regular C8 Corvette's near 500 brake horsepower 6.2-litre V8 wasn't enough, the Bowtie has doubled the base model's power. Behind the cabin now sits a twin-turbocharged 5.5-litre V8, sending 1,064 bhp to the wheels through an 8-speed auto. If those numbers all sound a bit crazy, it's because they are. The so-called LT7 sat under the ZR1's glorious split-window cover is officially the most powerful V8 ever produced in America for a road car, unsurprisingly making it the most powerful Corvette ever. It's not all about the brutish nature of the engine though, as the newest Corvette has an air of modern sophistication about it as well. This optional carbon fibre rear wing and associated aero package produce over 540 kg of downforce at top speed, helping keep all that power in check. Meanwhile, the whole thing is covered in this fabulous suit, complete with the aforementioned split window harking back to the popular 1963 C2 Corvette. Broad wheel arches similar to those found on the Z06 model, and these optional black carbon fibre wheels are all nice additions to the famous American. Then again, if you'd rather a more subtle look, there's always the option to scale back the madness. Inside, and despite getting the track focus tag, the ZR1 is far from barren, with nice leathers, carbon fibre trim, plenty of tech and what look to be hugging seats. And it's still very much a modern day Corvette with its square steering wheel. Some things never change. Similarly, the new Corvette ZR1 retains its family's relative cheap nature. As the standard Corvette hits the market at just $70,000 in the US, we don't expect the ZR1 to start any higher than $150,000. Though tick the aero package option and a few carbon fibre pieces and you'll certainly get closer to $200,000. Still, that's a lot less than most other track-focused supercars.
Thank you for joining us on this trip down memory lane. But there is lots more to come in the new year. So do tune in then on Auto Mundial.